Shalom, shalom, saints. Shalom, YouTube. This is Sister T, and welcome to the Rock this early morning. Um, I'm just coming here to make a short video to answer some questions I've gotten. If you've watched our channel for any time before we rebooted the channel, I've answered this question in part on a different type of video, but I'm still being asked this question, and because our videos aren't there, I'm going to re-answer this question and go into a little bit more detail. So I hope this answers the question. I hope it helps someone. So I was asked the question again about why do I call my husband master? And also, do I feel disrespected by calling him master? Do I feel enslaved? And why would I call him? He's just a man. Why would I call him master? And first, I'm gonna go by the scriptures. Number one, if you go to 1 Peter 3 and read verse 1 through 6, it would explain to you that the former women of old times who were holiness and who believed on Yah, they obeyed their husbands and they called their husbands master. And according to the King James, it says Lord, but it translates to master. And if you go to First Peter yourself and read it and look behind the word, if you have a lexicon or a Bible dictionary, it will let you know what that it translate. It actually translates to master. Another portion of that question was, why do I go as far as saying master? I can actually call my husband sir. Why don't I call him sir? And I'll answer that portion as well. So according to the scriptures, we were considered Sarah's daughters, and the Bible explains that Sarah obeyed Abraham by calling him master. So she understood that this was her head, this was her priest, this was her master, and she obeyed him by obedience. It also speaks of the obedience, and it said the former women of old who believed in Yah, they believed by obeying their husbands and by calling them master. And there's lots of scriptures that talked about obedience and how a wife is to submit and obey her husband. But this particular scripture talks about how they also reverence their husband, but they call them master. And they said these women believed on Yah. And the scripture also talks about that we are Sarah's daughters. So that's why I call my husband master, in the biblical sense, and that's the main reason. But also, I'm gonna answer the second portion, then I'll go into more detail. Um, I don't feel comfortable calling my husband sir. Not really. I mean, if he wanted me to, I would. But I prefer master as well because sir to me is not good enough when it comes to my husband. My husband is my head. He leads me in spirituality, in serving Yah. He provides for me. He protects me. He takes care of his family. He works hard. He's striving to be everything that Yah called him to be. Does my husband make mistakes? Yes, he does. Is he perfect? No, he isn't. But he is striving to serve Yah. My husband we've been married for 9 years, and he has strived with me for 9 years, been disrespectful, not all 9 years, but coming together, especially in the beginning, been disrespectful to him, dishonoring him, disobeying him, thinking I'm his equal at one point in time, that feminist mentality that we gain from this society. He's endured through all of that. I could have been a divorced woman on the street right now or doing whatever. But he recognized that we were both coming out of this world, that we both been trained to be a certain way, and that now we had to unlearn all those behaviors and learn what the scripture says so we can live this correctly. So, and I can do better than calling him sir. I call the doctor sir. Now I don't go to no doctor, but when I used to go to the doctor, I respond to the doctor with sir. When someone's in my way and I need them to move out of my way, I will say, "Excuse me, sir." I've called many people sir, just out of respect or out of being kind. I've called them sir, and I can do better than that when it comes to my husband, because my husband is beyond the average person out there. My husband is responsible for me. My husband is my head, my personal head. And sir just isn't good enough. If I can call anybody else sir, I call a random stranger sir. If I'm walking down the street to go for a walk, and I don't do that, but if I was, and there was a man, walking and I needed to get around him, I would say, "Excuse me, sir." And that's the same term you use for your husband. Well, I won't do that anymore. Again, like if my husband wanted me to, that'd be one thing. But if it's up to me, I don't think it's good enough. Your husband deserves better than that, especially when he's taking on the responsibility and he's doing his job as a man of Yah. Then I believe that the man deserves more honor and deserves more respect than that. Another reason that I really like calling him master is because, you know, this society trained us against men. They taught us that we are as good as men. They taught us to disrespect the man. They taught us, especially if he's a man of color, we've been taught to disrespect the man of color. Everybody has always disrespected the man of color. So it is my goal to do everything I can, at least from my end, to respect my husband, and give him the most respect, so that I can, I can give him. And if calling him master gives him more respect, then that's what I want to do. Also, it should be followed up by the behavior. Saying master means nothing if you ain't behaving that way, if you're not actually treating him that way. So keep that in mind as well. Calling him master would mean absolutely not anything if you're not going to obey, if you're not going to serve, if you're not going to be his helpmeet. But if you are, then calling him master is a very, very honorable term. So that's why I call my husband master, according to scripture and according to the views also, that I also have. I don't think sir is good enough. Um, and I want to encourage, all daughters of Zion who has a husband, and he's striving to serve the Most High, and he is working hard, taking care of his family, taking care of you, and he has strived with you through your disobedience and things like that to, really give your husbands that respect. These true Israelite men are really working hard to provide for their families. They have a hard enough time as it is, going out to this world, trying to work hard to provide, then come home and they got, family, they got children, they got to lead and guide us. The Most High is even holding them accountable for a whole lot of things. And as daughters of Zion, we should be making their jobs easier, not harder. And so, anything to honor and respect and reverence your husband, that's within your power, that's within what you can do, or that's within what at one time I did call my husband sir before I knew about master, about calling him master, before I really understood what that scripture was talking about. I did call him sir. I went from calling him by his name. Then I moved up to calling him sir, and then I was at master. So sometimes we're learning things in steps, but as you learn these things, apply them and honor these men. My husband works hard. Right now he works 12-hour shifts. Then he comes home and I'm like, you need to get some sleep. And then he comes home and like, well, I can't go get no sleep yet because I need to make sure we have plenty of wood because it's cold and the family's cold. And then I gotta, if I gotta, go gather all this wood, I gotta go do that. And then you know what? Planting season is coming, and he's out here and he's raking leaves and he's getting the dirt and the soil together, and he's making sure the pH is right. He's doing all these things because he's like, we got to have food. And, he's excited about this growing season, but he hasn't had any sleep. He already drives, to work and from work. Sometimes he's not getting any rest, almost for close to 2 days. And, it's like, well, you got to go to work again. You need to get some rest. He'll, go to work sometime off of 3 hours of sleep. You know, that type of man you better honor and respect. And and I try to make sure I check my behavior very often to make sure I'm respecting him. It's not that I'm not perfect at this. I do have days I'm working or something and we can get off on the wrong term, or somebody's tired and stuff, and stuff don't come off right. And if I know, like, no, that didn't seem right, I try to fix it right away. Oh no, I don't like the way I responded. My attitude I don't think was correct. I go and fix it. And, so cause I'm not perfect either, but I do strive to make sure I honor, respect, and reverence my husband. And I encourage you sisters to do the same. Well, I hope this answered your question of why I call my husband master, why I prefer master over sir. And if you go read 1 Peter 3, you will know what I'm talking about. Until next time, bless you all. Shalom.